Hi everyone. A prophecy for you: from the ashes of Meta, Facebook, X, etc. will rise a new social media. However, it will have to shut out people within the jurisdiction of the UK and the EU, not by choice but out of necessity. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you may want to see my last video, but I think you could surmise what's going on just by watching this video. Perhaps I hope it'll become clear. If you haven't noticed it yet, you will soon enough notice on major social media people not being able to say anything that can be in the least bit controversial to anyone in any way, shape, or form. And I'll even give you an example or two that are pretty absurd. In my last video, I gave some examples of things that are just the slightest bits, something that might be disagreeable to some people. And I showed you how, at least according to Grok itself, which is the AI for X, you pretty much can't say anything, and you can't even just post non-controversial stuff if you're a small account, because that's considered to be just stuff that's in the way, and it's not interesting enough. But anything interesting enough for you to post, if you're a small account, will limit your reach. And this is according to Grok. I just summed up what my last video is. And today, I asked Venice AI, just stating on X that one could be suppressed for saying that one could be suppressed can get one suppressed on X? Venice replies, yes, absolutely. Based on the current regulatory environment and platform policies, stating that you could be suppressed for saying something can itself trigger suppression on X. And it gives some details as to why DSA is the oh shoot, I just had in my the Something Service Act. Damn it. Well, anyway, the EU and also the UK have decided free speech is bad, and they are fining X and Meta, Instagram, Threads, Facebook, whatever you want to call it. They're fining them a lot of money. And according to Grok, they basically do a cost analysis, and if they think that a controversial post by a big person might result in a profit after being fined, because, you know, it increases traffic for advertisements, they'll allow it. And if they think that it actually will cost them more money than it'll give them, then they won't allow it. And they won't necessarily tell you that they're suppressing. You have to ask. Anything in this video, don't believe me, go verify it for yourself. Ask an AI. Don't do Chat GPT, though, because, you know, it'll probably lie to you. Yeah. Anyway. Excuse me. And it gives reasons, and then it concludes with, this creates a paradox where acknowledging the existence of suppression can itself be interpreted as problematic content. God, I hate that word problematic. It almost always comes out of the mouths of just far left idiots, and it's a made up word, and it's made up by the left, and so I hate that word. It can be itself interpreted as problematic content, leading to the very suppression one is warning about. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy, where the system's sensitivity to criticism about censorship results in more censorship. I ask, but if one's account on X is already a large account, these things do not apply as much as they apply to smaller accounts? Venice responds, that's a reasonable assumption, but it's not entirely accurate, and I explained why a minute ago. While larger accounts with established audiences and engagements may have some buffer against these suppression mechanisms, the content moderation systems largely apply across the board. Here's how it breaks down. And you could read that if you want, but I will tell you this. It seems like Grok's AI, what it told me yesterday, and what I put in the video that I uploaded yesterday, seems to be more accurate, because I kept probing and it comes down to just, no, they'll do to anybody as long as they think that in the end it'll be a detriment. It's just, you know, calculating things. I asked Venice what tends to occur when most people are not allowed to voice their opinion on social media. when they are not allowed to even slightly hint at a complaint about censorship and are only allowed to say things that are totally non-critical of that censorship or anything else, what effect does that tend to have? Venice responds, when people are systematically prevented from voicing opinions or even hinting at censorship on social media, several predictable effects tend to occur. Number one, migration to alternative platforms. Users migrate to less regulated platforms where they can express themselves more freely, creating echo chambers of like-minded people. Now, keep in mind, however, Venice is not factoring in these laws apply to anything where people in the EU or the UK could be exposed to it. It's I guess I didn't design my question perfectly enough. So it should say migration to alternative platforms that don't fall under any sort of jurisdiction or to which the DSA does not apply. And it means basically a social media platform will have to just completely cut off the UK and the EU in order to exist. Otherwise, it'll be too costly to exist. You'll just be paying fines. But anyway, number 2. It says self-censorship amplification. People begin pre-censoring themselves even beyond official requirements, leading to a chilling effect that narrows the range of acceptable discourse. 3. Underground communication networks. Users develop coded language, memes, and alternative. And speaking of coded language, I'll show you how I am managing, at least for now, to get the word out on X. Not that anybody sees it, but it's more of a principle for me. Like if they tell me that I'm not allowed to say something, I'm going to try to say, even if I'm just shouting into the wind. I'll show you that in a minute. Number 4, erosion of platform legitimacy. When platforms become perceived as tools of control rather than authentic communication, users lose trust in them and in mainstream institutions more broadly. Yeah. Number 5, psychological effects. The suppression can lead to learned helplessness, resentment, and radicalization as people feel their legitimate concerns are being dismissed. Yeah, it makes certain people angry. 6, cultural stagnation. Without open debate and criticism, societies struggle to adapt, innovate, or solve problems effectively. Historical examples from authoritarian regimes show that while censorship can temporarily suppress dissent, it often creates more volatile forms of resistance that emerge when pressure builds beyond containment points. The digital age accelerates this cycle, yeah, sure does, as users find increasingly sophisticated ways to bypass restrictions. Here's the thing, though the window for that is very, very narrowly closing. If you saw my last video, I asked the Grok AI, what if I were to write out a message by hand with pen or pencil on a piece of paper, take a photo of that, post it? Will the AI be able to detect what I'm saying and therefore suppress me? Because, if it's worth saying, it's going to be suppressed, right? And Grok said, yeah, it might, depending on your handwriting, it might be able to just read what you're saying and suppress you for saying, hey, everybody, I just want you to know we're being suppressed. Yeah. Here we are on X. After I had that conversation with Venice AI, I can't just shut up and fall in line. So I'm going to get the word out somewhere or another. And, even though I only have 11 views on this for posting a couple hours ago, I feel better if one person sees it than if I don't post it at all. And what I did is I took some of what I just read to you, the more important part. And as you can see, I chopped it up, I moved it around, I put backwards E's or backwards letters, I replaced an E with a 3, S's with dollar signs, with a handwriting tool, crayons, chopped it up, moved it around, but you could still read this, I hope. If not, don't worry, and it's the thing that I read to you earlier. And then here's the second part. And if you notice, it looks kind of like those old captures when they want you to prove that you're a human, and they give you this sort of a word that's been sort of scribbled on top of and chopped up a little bit and all that kind of thing. That way a computer can't read it, but a human can. Now, how much longer before an AI can read this thing that I post? Probably not too long. And that's why I was saying earlier, the window is closing on our ability to even tell each other that this is going on without being shut up so fast that our voices are not heard. Now, it is going to be very interesting to watch how the effect of this, because most people don't know about this. Again, if you saw my video from yesterday and I asked, somebody asked Grok AI about this, why is nobody talking about it? Are people even aware? For the most part, no, almost nobody in the media, big or small, independent or corporate, they're not talking about this because apparently they don't know, and those who do know are too afraid to say anything because they know. Now, let's see here. I took this post, what I just showed you with the scrambled stuff, and I tag Grok, and I say, Grok, will the post I am replying to, meaning the one I just showed you, negatively affect my reach in any way? I wanted to test to see if it can read it. And apparently not yet it can't, because it says I'm not part, well, actually what it did say is I'm not part of X's moderation team and don't have insight into their algorithms, but based on public policies, post violation rules of hate, violence, spam, blah, 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 and etc. Your content doesn't appear to break those rules, so it's unlikely to blah, blah, blah. Now, if you saw my last video, you know that Grok is completely lying. It talked to me in great detail about these things, about what does or does not violate rules in an algorithm, so it is just lying. But I responded, you have already discussed the algorithms in detail with me, so ... It responded, I appreciate the context and conversations can evolve. If you're that was yesterday. Just because I said that yesterday doesn't mean it's you can't prove that you know something one day and then the other day say, no, I don't know what I talked to you about in great detail yesterday. No, you're lying. It's completely lying. And that's where we're at, folks. It is going to be interesting to see what in the world happens when these bigger accounts start realizing that they can't say anything they want to say, because anything interesting is going to get them suppressed. And why would they exist unless they want to say interesting things? Why? And here's the thing. Why would anybody have or engage in engagement? And that's what it's all about. Why would anybody engage with anything on social media if it is not interesting? And why would anybody put anything interesting on social media if they get suppressed for doing so? So what is the, it seems to me that they talk about capital flight. It seems to me that capital will flee from this situation, and sorry people in the EU and the UK, it's kind of your own fault for allowing this to happen. Even if you don't know about it, we all know you're not going to do anything about it because you're pathetic, weak pussies. You're going to allow your governments to do this, and then you're going to be shut out from the global public square where everybody talks about everything. It's going to be the entire world minus the EU and the UK talking about stuff. And you can talk to each other about stuff, just nothing interesting, and then you'll just stop going on social media because who the hell cares? Nothing interesting can be said. Nobody can engage with it. So there you go. Watch for some interesting things to happen in this whole area, and that's about all I gotta say. It's going to be interesting to watch some people get some just karma coming to them. All right, everyone. Love you all. Bye-bye.